We've been conducting the longest running, most comprehensive experiment into remote viewing. The old military guys never did as many targets with such frequency as we did for as long. We've got thousands of videos, hundreds of targets. We're some of the top remote viewers. We have good analysis. We have solid targeteering. So we just attempted to look at an event in the year 2050. I've been hot. I called target on the Collider. I called target on Klaus Schwab. I did good on the last two crypto targets. I did this one. I probe, and the ideograms felt dead.
There's a sense of devastation, like a whirlwind has come through, as in this event happens very fast. The secession happens very quickly, too fast to do anything about it. They're ready, as in pre-planned. It's like a war and war planning. These big booms going on.
So mushroom cloud, ripple effect, shock wave, like post-detonation, expanding in every direction.
Then I saw what looks like a government type building, like we would have like a fence or walls around it, a dome area there, and a group of people outside of it. They're angry, they're upset, and it's like takeover or protest, fed up, disappointment. I even got the word intrusion or intruder in a sense of a rush.
I got the idea of people witness a dramatic energy thing, but it's manufactured. It's like an AI or hologram. Stuff is created out of nothing, like you're witnessing things that don't really exist.
So I felt that there was a multi-level global scheme that uses spying and comms and people to influence results. And it's all very political, very dark, devious. Lots of things like blackmail being used, safe houses, electrical comms, everything monitored, clearing houses, a vast network of layered people collecting information and manipulating people.
Seen our private site yet? It is futureforecastinggroup.com, and it is so full of esoteric, mind-blowing, life-changing information. You can check it out at futureforecastinggroup.com.
We're going to be going over two targets today, V6M6-K8J7 and A9I5-Q7K4. The second target was a retasking of the first because the viewers were giving such interesting data. And I'm kind of looking forward to tonight to see where the discussion leads, because this was a really interesting one. Get that turban and
we were given a target, probably a near future target, economic or something like that. And we didn't get anything about that, but we all described a catastrophic event. And so we think that there's something big coming that diverted our attention.
Thing is, I was asked not to reveal the actual target you guys were trying to view, because it will probably be retasked, because there's interest in getting that target.
Oh,
but for whatever reason, you guys all just gave data, tons and tons of data that were related to something else. And what was really interesting was how strongly it correlated. So there was such strong correlation that the team said, let's retask this. And they were retasking you on the original target, slightly changing the wording of the tasking that you guys were blind to, of course. And they said, let's try this again and see if we get data. And you guys still gave us more data that related to whatever it was you were describing before. Dick, do you want to go through your sessions?
okay. Now I get a land gestalt with energy hitting. This is an energy event impacting land. Shock waves, explosive, roaring, rumbling, generates heat, impact, falling rocks, juts out. A city at night, something happens at night. There's lights, but some areas are dark, popping sounds, unrest, movement, flashpoint. This barricade, unruly people block somebody yelling through a bullhorn. And that's my session.
Edward, you want to walk us through yours next?
Manipulation or control of small particles, even nanotech, inside the grid. This reminds me of some nanodust being excited inside of this grid system, and it was being released for experimental purposes only, and it felt magnetic. But how long does this take, I wonder? 3 months. 3 months from today, though, I question. The notion is more of 3-month cycles than 6 months. So from today, the notion is of 6 months to target date within 3-month cycles. So this session was on the 11th. This is a warning, a monitoring station. There are military style people here who are monitoring activity on a global scale. And that's going to be a giant screen, and they're in front of this giant screen. Monitoring for what, though? SARS, movement, all activity? What are they monitoring that is relevant to this tasking, though, I wonder? That's a big question. None of us could seem to answer. Ships, boats, shipments? The notion is of something moving via shipments. Something is being moved or delivered, and it is being monitored or tracked. Well, what is being moved, though, I wonder? Something in a container. Something about it seems energetic or golden in color. I don't know if it's radioactive or just an active electronic device.
So next we'll go into Derek's 2 sessions.
So when I put it together, this is what I saw. It's like an old World War II like plane, definitely not new technology. And then in the cockpit of the plane, again with the wiper features, looking at something out in the distance. There were a lot of gauges, and picked up like a bomb dropping, and definitely clouds, steady dropping. Again, airplane, propeller, not jet. High altitude over water, potentially islands in the background. And then this, which was vapor shooting up and out in every direction. My sense was that whoever's operating this is watching this happen from a distance. So mushroom cloud, ripple effect, shock wave, like post detonation, expanding in every direction.
Thank you, Derek. Daz.
I had this kind of fast downwards motion here, fast, swift, decisive, aggressive action out of the blue. It felt like it was near the end of 2023, moving into 2024, so close. And it felt like an action that leads to a retaliation type decision. And this could go either one of 2 ways. One way is bad, and the other way is very bad. Had a feel of hostility reaction to it, and it had a political overtone to it as well. But I did sense an explosive energy event, but I don't feel a hit or strike. It feels more so like the land is ejected upwards and outwards. And I wrote here, this could be natural, like an earthquake or an eruption. But it does feel coastal, and I do feel like there's a massive moving people that are sad and displaced. But again, there's no vehicles. They were all walking. There's a time scale thing I did, so I got like mid 2024 there. I don't know why I got 2 crosses, maybe 2 events, but it kind of like dissipates, but it goes way into the future, as you can see there, and tails off.
Thank you, Daz. Nyiam.
Trying to see the relevant like location for this. My first impression was maybe this is like in the White House or something like that. It just looked like a very nice hallway, but as I probe it, it feels more like a secure, controlled access area. There's meeting rooms, negotiations happen, and there's like, you can't eavesdrop. They have something to block people from listening in. There's, no trespass. There's guards on the perimeter, and there's some kind of event being held here. Something gets passed into law, or like a bill or an act. And the sense I get is all rights reserved. Like they have backdoor protection through some kind of legal loophole, and they're sidestepping the law, doing whatever they're doing here. Like it's done. Good work. Like after the person signs it, it's like, good job. They'll never notice or feel like they think they have a genius plan. Looking at the Life Multi 2 here, this looked like, like a court hearing. Someone's in the spotlight. It's like crazy pressure on this. Everyone's watching this. Lawyers, this person feels like they're on the defense, trying to make a case. They're on the ropes. law in the sense it's like law and order. No one's above the law. So
I just did a session through S3. It was really quick. I was about to get feedback, and I was like, "Oh, I want to see what this one is." So I worked it real quick. So my page one,
isn't that great?
was, yeah, I got a mushroom cloud right away. I was like, "What the heck?" Next, I saw like a linchpin, which was weird. When I saw Edward's session later on, again, I didn't see any sessions. I didn't have any feedback, but when I saw Edward's session, he had a linchpin. I was like, that's odd. For some reason, I saw these people walking. Just a warning, I get metaphors in my work a lot. And when I have dreams, and I have zombie dreams, it's usually people living unconsciously. So I kind of got zombies. I did a target on Vivek Ramaswamy, and the sessions that were turned in by Edward and Derek seemed to be more tied to this Luminosity event that we went into a couple weeks ago, rather than the target of Vivek. This is an interesting phenomenon. So with this real high luminosity event, I wouldn't be surprised if viewings get pulled into this on a somewhat regular basis until, I guess, the timeline solidifies or things get sorted out. I don't know. This is kind of new territory for us. But Derek, let's go through your full session here for folks and see what you got.
All right. This is my S3 here again, and I'm watching like conveyor belt or something, but they're moving in different directions. That was one piece of it, and then separately, a person moving down a corridor where there's like a machine room or a control room. It had an underground feel, like maybe a dam or a subway. Lots of machinery, lots of moving parts and pieces, complex angles. And then I see this. And this was immediately disturbing for me because I thought, the first thing I'm thinking now is like, oh, we're not getting into another explosion-like situation. And I thought, no, that's not what this is. This is like liquid or steam, and it was coming up and out and shooting all around, like some element of chemical, like something not operating properly. And here's several individuals working. They're saying we can fix it. It's a mechanical issue. There's this structure in the middle with what looks like vents. It's again dense, as I was describing above. Wet, spongy elements involved, fluid dynamics, spray foam, fire suppression, potentially like medical application or ESH or environmental safety and health.
Yep, thank you. And Edward is going to go through his session next, and he seems to have gotten a different element of what it does seem to tie again to what we were talking about before, but I'll let him go through it.
I was getting these people right off the bat. And they were yelling at each other and arguing. There was an angry situation, and it was like they were in the streets, and there was no fuel for the vehicles, and arguing about that kind of thing. And this anger seemed more like a situation that was based on supply and demand. So I wanted to kind of see if I could get an idea of that. A shortage situation along the lines of not being able to get supplies moved, like they're stuck. They're there. The result is a delay of delivery. People are waiting and they cannot move. But for how long, though, I wondered, what is the end result? A bit of starvation, like a fasting takes place. But maybe it's needed, or maybe that is how they will justify it. It gets delivered only by different means, in different ways. The trucks arrive. They get there. It's late, but they do get there. Is this about how people will react, though, I wonder? The delay in or reroute is genuine, even if it's orchestrated, but it still happens. So I have to ask, what's more important, the delay or the reaction? The response. But how, though? It's a we told you so situation. The realization of total dependency. It's like the shadowed face suddenly becoming clear and saying, you're dependent.
We started out, Nyiam.
I saw people kind of up against the barrier, yelling and shouting and holding signs. Then I saw what looks like a government type building, like would have like a fence or walls around it, a dome area there, and a group of people outside of it. They're angry, they're upset, and it's like takeover or protest, fed up, disappointment. I even got the word intrusion or intruder in a sense of a rush. So maybe trying to rush into a government building. Large, I don't know if it's a smoke cloud or a dust cloud, but it didn't feel like a bomb or anything like that. It felt like maybe an eruption, but more of a natural gray, not gray, like a tan brown cloud, not like a black smoke cloud. And the sense I get is like off-gassing. So maybe some kind of natural gas release, either from an eruption or a pipeline or something like that.
Thanks, Nyiam. Who wants to go next?
I can go. So I did 2 sessions. I'll zip through pretty quick here. The first one seemed to be a little more specific on someone. There's this person, I'm sitting on a plane, very comfortable, like a high-end plane. And then there was this idea, like maybe the plane had gone missing or something like that, and they had gotten some naval assistance. The Navy was out there, and they were looking for them. And then I didn't know the idea, they had some kind of an advanced warning that something may be going on here. And I was like, who was this all about? And some names came up, like people of this person's ilk, like Gensler's ilk or something of that high nature. But and then I didn't know if it was a false flag or if it was a distraction of some kind, but it was some kind of a big financial person here. But they were on their way over to a big meeting, and they're on this plane, and they're going over for this big meeting. And then they meet up with this person, and it's like something getting handed over or something like that, or some big handover going on. It seemed private, but big public ramifications. Draining of accounts and, moving all this money around, and old money goes away and new money comes in. But this was an old school guy, handshake, like these old school people. Regarding the money, it was like emptying out vaults or something like that, draining out, a big draining situation going on, restricting, removing. It's like the dollar was on its side. Everything felt really shaky. You know what I mean? Can I say anything that is actually new instead of all this has been said a million times? Tracking things, people, no, not really. Records is an old practice. It isn't new. It's just evolving. And again, back to here, new life or the new life seems the same as, new this, new that, new world order, same money, just a different name for it. Same person, just a different name. Electric man, electric universe. I was kind of getting a little fed up at that point. I was like, I'm not getting anything. Everything seems the same here, just the same old plot line.
Thank you, Edward.
I'll go. All right. So I've got 2 that I'll run through real quick here. Open sea, shocking. Target seemed to involve an oceanic disturbance causing a massive water displacement, people unprepared, casualties, injuries, not necessarily tidal waves, but enormous waves ripping the coastline. And an element of objects being smashed, potential missile, comet-like object, massive detonation impact, water displacement, sending enormous waves in every direction, seeing people huddled together in dark enclosed place, scared, unprepared, help is not coming. They're underground, closed off space. And seeing someone this is where it felt random, seeing someone walking a dog through the woods, and the dog takes off running first, and the guy basically holding the leash starts running too, and they're overtaken by the event. And then observed from space, massive impact from the surface. Looking at the sky, darkness rushes in, blotting out the sun. Daylight suddenly dark as night. Ominous feeling of dread. Rare event. A few people are prepared for, like a meek will inherit the earth type of reset. That's what I got. So 2050, I hope you're better off than that.
Yeah. Daz, you want to go next?
So I had this energy feeling at first. I felt like this wasn't real energy. It was just like emotional energy. So thousands or millions of people very angry and surprised. Huge global outpouring. Then I tried to look at the cause of this, and the cause of this was two opposing forces or people, and they're arguing or debating, exchanging words, blaming each other, very confrontational. But it felt very unphysical to me as well, not physical. So this, like, all this was like words and stuff like that. So the target felt not very physical to me. So I felt that there was a multi-level global scheme that uses spying and comms and people to influence results. And this is all very political, very dark, devious. Lots of things like blackmail being used, safe houses, electrical comms, everything monitored, clearing houses, a vast network of layered people collecting information and manipulating people. And everything to do with this was all political. I looked at the aim for this, and it was just domination, power, control, and ego. This is all because of a very dangerous man. He uses people. He has a long-term dark agenda. He has a warlike agenda with destruction. Anything goes. And he's secretly manipulating everything on many levels, using a complex team of people, intel trained, social trained, spies, and lots of covert activity.
Thank you, Daz. Very interesting. And then Dick, you're up last.
I went full Edward Riordan right off the bat. This is full Edward Riordan. While everything around it is crumbling, the obelisk remains. I got the idea of people witness a dramatic energy thing, but it's manufactured. It's like an AI or hologram. So, yeah, my theme of this is stuff is created out of nothing. Like you're witnessing things that don't really exist. Big light shows, like you see a lot of things, like Project Blue Beam, I guess. A lot of people see something big and dynamic that's manufactured. Dramatic cell phone videos, but it's designed and created. So yeah.
Creepy.